Welcome everyone, I am Greg Ferris, the founder of MyoBrain. In today's video, we're discussing all things sleep. It's gonna be a refresh of our video about 4 or 5 years ago, so we're calling it Sleep Hygiene 2.0. We'll be talking about some fundamental recommendations to get high quality sleep, some advanced protocols like supplementation, and overall just simplifying the process. You can have high quality sleep so you can get leaner, get stronger, hit all the goals. All right, so let's dig into it. And of course, on one of my sides here, you'll see kind of the PowerPoint presentation we put together on Canva. So diving into the sleep hygiene protocols, of course, we'll start off here with 4 fundamental things we can do each and every night to have high quality sleep. So the first one will be no blue light exposure within roughly 30 minutes before bed. So you know what this is. This is television, this is your phone, this is your iPad. That blue light in your face, avoiding that, it doesn't have to be the entire night, but for the very least about half an hour, maybe 60 minutes before bed can do wonders for our overall sleep quality, all right? The second thing is to keep our room temperature very cool. I would say roughly 68 degrees. It should be chilly, right? Most of us have a hard time sleeping more warm or sweaty. So again, just making sure you're feeling comfortable. That 68 degrees is a good rule of thumb, but ultimately if you're hot or you're cold, so you want an overall relatively cool body temperature. The third thing is creating a regularity within your sleep and wake cycles. So hypothetically, can you go to sleep every day at 10 p.m. and wake up at 6 a.m.? That will be much better than just an erratic, on Monday, go to bed at 9, wake up at 5. On Tuesday, stay up until midnight, sleep until 8. I do know for some people, if you say are a nurse working an overnight shift or something like that, this may not be something that's entirely in your control. So we'll talk about ways you kind of stack these things together. So if you don't do one, other things you can do kind of to circumvent that. The second component when it comes down to that routine and regularity is creating some sort of sleep environment, which you can have a routine to kind of teach your body it's time to go to bed. So say for example, at 9:30, we say, okay, at least half an hour with no more light exposure. I'm gonna try to get to bed maybe at 10:15 every single night, take a hot bath, read a book, and that routine, that cyclicality will sort of kind of help just teach our bodies that we're gonna go to sleep. And of course, that circadian rhythm of what we can do 10 p.m., 6 a.m., 10 p.m., 6 a.m., that consistency will be phenomenal. The fourth thing, sorry to say this, but it's to also limit our alcohol intake. So this research is pretty clear here that alcohol does decrease our quality of sleep. Again, doesn't mean if we do all these positive things and you have a tiny glass of wine once in a while, it's gonna wreck your sleep. Of course, the dose and the frequency of these behaviors always matters, but limiting alcohol intake in the evening is certainly going to be a fundamental thing we can do to improve our sleep quality. So a quick recap, no light exposure, roughly half an hour, cool sleeping environment, creating routine day over day, and also a routine within kind of that evening protocol, and then also limiting our alcohol exposure. Now, let's move on to 2.0 sleep hygiene protocols. So of course, as you see in the top here, the fundamentals are the first things to focus on. A lot of people want to get fancy when it comes to supplementation, when it comes to blue light blocking glasses, but they won't ever do the things that are better bang for your buck. So again, those 4 things should be the bulk of where your attention goes. Once you have that mastered, or some of those things can't be mastered, say like the routine part of your evening, these are kind of the second steps to go towards. Okay, so in no particular order here, once again, number 1, can you get light exposure early in the morning? This kind of fits into the routine aspect. So say for example, if you can't control your bedtime, maybe you have a little kid or something like that, can you control to get sun exposure as early as possible in the morning? Again, this creates sort of a circadian rhythm. If we can just go outside for 5 or 10 minutes, have some exposure to our eyes, that can be a simple thing we do to just, again, increase our sleep quality and our consistency of sleep from day to day. The second thing will be no caffeine roughly 6 to 12 hours before bed. So the half-life of caffeine is roughly 6 hours. And what that means is, let's say if you had 100 milligrams of caffeine at 2 p.m., 6 hours later, half of that caffeine will still be in your system. Not the whole amount, but still in the evening, you have a little bit of caffeine there. So you could imagine if you're someone who works out at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the evening, having some caffeine, a pre-workout, may be detrimental to your sleep. Now again, you don't have to do all of these things to have high quality sleep, but something to be thinking about. When it comes to the long end of that 12 hours before bed, that is the quarter life of caffeine. So say in that same example, I think I said 12 p.m. If you have 100 milligrams of caffeine at 12 p.m., a quarter of that, so 25 milligrams, will still be in your system at midnight. And of course, there's a lot of individual variance in how people metabolize caffeine. So there's gonna be, certainly is it depends type of situation there. But again, if you're finding yourself having difficulty falling asleep, caffeine can be a simple fix of just reducing that amount or obviously shifting it earlier in the day. The third thing we can do is some daytime exercise. So of course, if you're already working out, this is really bonus, right? But we all know that having some sort of vigorous exercise, whether it's resistance training or cardiovascular work, really can be helpful for overall sleep quality. So even if this means that on a rest day, you go for a 20 or 30-minute walk after dinner, this can promote just more overall restfulness as you move into the evening. And the fourth and final thing, which everyone of course likes to talk about, is supplementation. So we'll have an own separate slide. We talk about a handful of supplements we can do when it comes down to improving our sleep quality. But remember, this is the 2.0 protocol. I probably would say this is the 8th place finisher on this list. So of course you can do the supplementation, but please, please, please do not take these supplements and then ignore the other 7 steps. Remember, those will be the best bang for your buck. Okay, so once you've mastered everything else and you want to get into supplements, mostly kidding there, these are the 2 products to be thinking about, right? So the 2 ingredients rather would be tart cherry juice and then also melatonin. Now, you don't have to get the products on the screen, of course. We get no kickbacks, no affiliation, although I like Cherry Bundy. That'd be a cool partnership for us to have. You also can just get regular tart cherry juice from Target or Whole Foods or something. You can get melatonin from Now Foods, just a very generic amount. You don't have to get these 2 products, but these are kind of some unique products in the marketplace that I think could be cool to look into, right? If you're a client of mine watching, or kind of MyoBrains watching this video, you will have access as well. If you just click where it says melatonin or Cherry Bundy Sleep, that will just pull you right to where you can purchase those from the actual distributor, right? So the reason why I like these 2 products, because they kind of combine 2 of the ingredients that have been shown to improve sleep quality, which is again, the tart cherry juice and melatonin. These 2 products are very, very similar, same company, same made ingredients. I would say it's mostly gonna be a personal preference of which one you want to choose. You can click on the website and do a deeper dive into the products, but the one that kind of looks like more of a beverage has roughly 80 calories in it. It's tart cherry juice, a little bit of valerian root there. That's probably maybe a good place to start if you don't, if you haven't had something like melatonin before or tart cherry juice. See if that improves your sleep quality. Of course, it's a standard beverage that you kind of would just drink before bed, maybe 30, 60 minutes before bed. You don't want to have a beverage, something full liquid before bed. The sleep concentrate, it's more like a goo, like what you have at an endurance race. That could also be useful. And as you'll see on their website, that also does have melatonin and magnesium. So maybe a little bit more potent, if you will, combining those 2. But I personally use both of these. Both of them are kind of like equally effective. I haven't seen a difference when I use one versus the other. I actually do kind of like a more beverage, so I typically use the Cherry Bundy Sleep, but also I've used the concentrate and like that too. Okay, and final slide here that again is somewhere up here. Stacking these behaviors will give you the best chance when it comes to high quality sleep. So I gave you really 8 ideas to work with. Some of those things may not be feasible for you. So for example, if you don't want to spend extra money on supplementation, that's fine. Get all of the free stuff, the simple stuff correct. If, for example, you can't do light exposure first thing in the morning and you aren't in control of your routine as much, that's okay. Focus on the other 5 or 6 things to do, right? Like anything else in fitness, we're trying to like stack the deck in our favor. No one of these things is going to make or break you, but if you can get half of them, 5 of them, 6 of them out of the 8, that's just gonna give you the best chance of high quality sleep. I know sleep is not the most sexy thing in the world. What high quality sleep allows you to do is reach your full potential. If you're not getting enough sleep, you're gonna wake up hungry, wake up irritable. You're not gonna have the motivation to train as hard. Despite it not being super sexy, it does play a crucial role, whether your goal is fat loss, high performance, building muscle. Making sure you're set up for success every day with high quality sleep is going to be a game changer if you've been slacking on that. And we all do. I know I do sometimes. So having these kind of reminders and looking at all these tools in our toolbox could be a great reminder. But yeah, that's all we have for today's video. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube, any questions for sure, feel free to drop it in the comment section. For any of my clients watching, hopefully this was helpful. Until next time.